Okay, now for a broader discussion of the adventures of Roadrunner pilot/short. It was released to theaters on June 2nd, 1962 with the film version of Lad a Dog. Now, it was not planned as a theatrical release. It was supposed to be the pilot for a TV show. But it wasn't picked up, so Warner salvaged it by releasing it as a short. It combined new footage with material from previous shorts, including From A to Z, since Ralph Phillips makes an appearance here. So now, here's a recap of the entire short. To the tune of Out on the Desert,
Out on the desert, early in the morning.
The Roadrunner and Coyote continue their chase. The Roadrunner goes so fast he collapses a bridge and jumbles up a speed limit sign. We see some familiar attempts by the Coyote, like the bow and the rock and lever and the plane and the grenade. Coyote uses a rope to catch the Roadrunner, but he ends up falling off of a cliff. The rope catches on a rock, but he hits the ground before it goes taut. He gets up, and the rock falls on him. Now, back in his cave, super genius Wile E. Coyote goes over exactly what went wrong with his latest endeavor. He tries it again, but a truck runs over the rope. We then switch to Ralph Phillips and his friend in a cowboy hat watching the Roadrunner Coyote on TV, including a commercial for a familiar-looking Batman outfit. Ralph says he likes to daydream about being a Roadrunner, and we get some flashbacks to From A to Z in the form of a psychiatric exam. I think we actually get the whole cartoon here. Once Ralph is cured, or not, they go back to watching TV. Ralph wonders why the Coyote wants a Roadrunner anyway. Wile E. Coyote stops and breaks the fourth wall to explain the large amount of flavors one Roadrunner has. After looking through a cookbook, he gets surprised by a meep meep. And we go back to the plots as he tries a wrecking ball, tries to use a spring, but the rock goes backwards and they bounce all over the desert. So Wile E decides to resort to a good old-fashioned catapult, but he can never seem to get it to work correctly. The reason is it was made by the Roadrunner Blueprint Company. You can see how this was kind of an evolution of the Bugs Bunny show idea, expanding it into a lot of newer segments wrapped around some of the older cartoons. It has three basic segments: the Coyote dissecting his failed attempt with the rope, Ralph and his friend watching TV, and the catapult. In this case, only the original Ralph Phillips cartoon is shown in full. The other cartoons they took from, like Gee Whiz and Zip and Snort, just bits and pieces. Now, I'm not sure if the audience would have been ready for this much of a change compared to the old format. You can understand why ABC decided to pass. Now, the other interesting part is Wile E. Coyote finally merged his Roadrunner persona with his super genius Bugs Bunny battling identity. Had to finally happen somewhere. Now, it turns out a second episode was not only planned, but was in production when the news came it would be going forward. This material was repackaged and used to make up Hairbreadth Hurry, with Bugs filling in for the Roadrunner. Now, I have to wonder if War and Pieces may have also been made up from this material. There's nothing I know suggesting that. I just wonder because To Beep or Not to Beep came out before it. More on that in a minute. Now, as we mentioned in the Roadrunner Superstars episode, there were three shorter cartoons created out of the 26-minute episode. First is the aforementioned To Beep or Not to Beep. Now, for you Star Trek fans, think of the Adventures of Roadrunner as the cage and To Beep or Not to Beep as the menagerie, just shorter. This will actually show up on Volume 3, but let's go ahead and do it now with the rundown still fresh in our minds. It was released on December 28th, 1963. The original short had Maurice Noble and Tom Ray listed as co-directors, and John Dunn and Michael Maltese joining Jones on the story. But here, it's only Noble and Dunn that receive additional credit. The cartoon combines the opening section where the Coyote uses a variety of methods to catch the Roadrunner, and the closing catapult section of the short, and removes all the parts where Wile E addresses the audience. This one also has a new score by Bill Lava. When we get the blue upgrade for this, we'll do a shot-by-shot telling of what sections of the Adventures of Roadrunner were re-edited to make up this cartoon. Then in 1965, the Patty Freeling created two more cartoons out of the pilot. This time there was very little effort put into it. They just cut them together differently and released them. Only not to theaters. It looks like these went right to TV. Zip Zip Hooray was released on January 1st, 1965. Convenient. It mainly concentrates on the Ralph Phillips and his friend part of the short, excluding the from A to Z portion. The other one, Roadrunner A Go-Go, which officially, quote-unquote, came out on February 1st, 1965, edits together the opening news portion and closing catapult section and brings it in around 6 minutes. But unlike To Beep or Not to Beep, it leaves in Wiley talking to the audience. Both of these also leave Milt Franklin's original score for the scenes in place.